All right. Well, I mean, it is Friday. Day number 2 of training camp is in the books. And as you know, if you're a hockey player, shots are very, very important. They're important on the ice rink, and they're important in the Avalanche Bar and Grill when you come and hang out, of course, for training camp or anytime you watch the Avs practice. And you guys should be coming and hang out. Make sure you come all weekend. We're hanging out. But right now, more important things to do. We got to get this thing going. Day number 2 of the Avalanche Pod and the DNVR action coming at you right now. Are you guys ready for this?
Born ready.
Okay, but we got to pregame a little bit. So cheers to day 2 at training camp, and cheers to you. The Avalanche Pod starts right now. Hi, I'm Nick Gizmo. This is, I forget your name again.
I don't have a name. I'm not a real person.
It's this guy. And then, of course, we've got Big E and we've got AJ. It's Rudo. You know it's Rudo. It is the DNVR Avs Pod coming at you from the Family Sports Center in Centennial. Day number 2 of training camp in the books. And I probably forgot your name because we were hanging out with Marianne over there at the Avalanche Grill.
Lots
it's
cooler
a nice
people than
spot.
me.
It's a really good spot. It's obviously, everybody knows everybody here, and it's just kind of fun to hang out. It's just fun to be back in the hockey environment again. Yeah. I mean, you're buzzing. I can see you got like a glow about you. You're in the room. You're hanging out with the guys. You're rubbing elbows again. And that's just kind of one of those things where there's just a different feel about hockey, right?
It's a special sport.
Yeah.
And look, I don't want to toot our own horn too much here. But when you look at hockey culture compared to some of the other big sports, it's easy to see how tight-knit it is in hockey compared to guys who, don't get me wrong, other sports have tight teams and things like that, but everybody in hockey is so close.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun today. Got to catch up with a lot of really cool people. Really cool show for you. So stoked you're hanging out with us today. We got Calvin De Haan, and he was awesome. So we got an exclusive with him today that we're gonna catch up with him a little bit. We heard from Shillington after he skated in the second group, so he is here, and the immigration woes behind. We talked to Coach Bednar. And there's a whole bunch of other really fun stuff about this. But I think before we get into Group 1, I kind of want to do this every day. I just want to get, and I'll say this a lot, your 30,000-foot view. And, AJ, I just want to start with you. What was your 30,000-foot overall view of day number 2 of camp? Had a little bit of a different feel today than yesterday.
Yeah, I talked yesterday that I was surprised about the lack of intensity, and I think that went away today. I remarked to Rudo that
in Group 2,
that it just had such a different feel to it, and that they were competing a lot more, and that they really got into it, and of course they were doing a lot more hockey things. Mm-hmm. You know, they were really, really digging in, especially at the end of in the second half of each session. They were doing one-on-ones and 2-on-2s and stuff, and that. So I think the intensity got ramped up a lot, and it made it a lot easier to watch them play and go, oh, okay, these are actual hockey things. Yep.
And just for everybody's edification, Group 1 yesterday was Group 2 today, so they're just going to do that little flip-flop, so just so you're aware. What was your overall on the day? And then we're gonna dial back and go to Group 1.
I am very glad that I do not have Chris McFarland or Jared Bednar's job.
They have some tough calls. There's some tough decisions about to be made.
And some of the players that looked really good yesterday didn't look as good today. Some of those other players in the battles, I'm sure we'll get into, looked really good today. If making those final roster decisions come October is going to be tough for this team, man.
Mm-hmm. And how about you from the management hat? Why don't you follow up on Rudo with that, E? Because give me your 30,000-foot view, but give me what that situation does look like for the brass in the Avs.
Here's what I'm going to say first. Yeah, AJ was excited to be back in a rink environment, but the glow is about his skincare. But that's one thing. Second thing. Are we good?
Go, yeah, we're good.
As soon as we unmute your mic, we'll be great.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Hey, there you are.
What I was saying is awesome that AJ's back in a hockey rink, but the glow that you see is from his skincare. You know what I mean? It's not
a
from
good skincare.
Yeah, it's just skincare. It's just the time that he takes to.
He was giving Calvin De Haan some Colorado skincare tips.
But anyway, to follow Rudo's question, not question, but thoughts. I look at it as a progression. You know, I look at it as steps to be taken care of. Coaching staff met all summer. You know, training camp was a big part of their meetings. How do they want to attack training camp? And you knew the first 2 days. By looking at those 2 days, Obviously, Ruda and I were saying like progression today. It's all of a sudden a 2-on-1. Then you're adding another part to it that leads into a 3-on-2, which is driving the net. And then you have a progression of the D's jumping in, right? No different. First 2 days are in the books, thank God. And then tomorrow you might see something else. Like you might see something else, a different format of training camp. Maybe you're going to see some more game-like situations. I'm talking about little maybe scrimmage-like things. That's just my thoughts. You asked me to put my management hat on.
I did, yeah.
That's just what I would do. And then, yeah, you're right. I mean, as coaches, they want to see if guys are starting to get it. The first couple of days, if there's new guys, new NHL guys that they've seen that they're not getting it a little bit what they're seeing, they're talking to them in the locker room. They're bringing the board out. They're bringing the video out. They have a nice little thing of plays the way they want to play. Because you got to remember, you always get a guy sometimes on an afternoon on a trade, and then all of a sudden he shows up, and then he's playing that night. So they have something ready about, hey, this is how we play. This is how we play on faceoffs. This is how we play a 30,000-foot view, right? And then what you're seeing now is you're seeing the guys the first couple of days. If you're a D, you're going to be dealing with Prater a little bit in there, going through some stuff. And then I think tomorrow you expect to see a little something different. And then, like Rudo said, management start to see a little bit, have a better idea of where are the battles coming from.
I've never seen someone who loves training camp as much as you that also hates training camp as much as
Such
you
an
do.
honestly, I was thinking the exact same thing. Oh my gosh, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. That could not be more accurate.
This is the player in me talking right now. I'm being honest. Like as players, you're like, oh God, those are not the practices you like. I'm just being honest.
Did you like practicing when you were a player?
I love being on the ice.
You love being on the ice, but did you like practice?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I'm being honest. I did. I miss it. That's what you miss, It was awesome.
Watching practice.
But you love when practice is over and you're hanging out in the locker room taking your gear off. That's the best part. You know what I mean? The camaraderie and all that stuff. But the practice, I loved it, But you got to remember, people think NHL practices are like 2 hours long. They're not. You guys see that during the year. It's quick. It's boom, boom. You're traveling. These are just long, and it's like 4 days in a row. You look at it, you're like, 4 days of practice. I know you had all summer, not the practice. I get that. If you ask them, they wouldn't tell you the truth. They'd tell you it's great.
Yeah.
Reality is.
Let's dive into Group 1 a little bit more here.
Really quick before we jump into that, a question from the chat, Toyota chat even asking, what time the training camp is this weekend? Tomorrow starts at 8:45. You're probably okay to get here more like 9:15 unless you really want to watch the goalies.
Probably. There are so many. There are going to be so many people here. Don't get here at 9:15.
That's true. If you want a seat, you need to get here early.
Yeah. Actually, I don't want that parking lot to fill up. Get here at 9:15.
What time is Eric's autograph thing? Remember, he's doing what time are you signing autographs
That's
tomorrow?
daily. That is
24/7
daily.
this
It's
guy.
24/7 daily.
First 500 fans get the cardboard stand-up.
Yes.
We don't have cardboard stand-ups yet.
Just saying.
Yet. No, come. That is the other quick thing. Yeah, come. I mean, this is fun. I mean, it's fun. I got to tell you, I've been blown away by how many folks I've met and that have come up and, fans of you alls and the show. And it's just really cool to see. We talk about culture and hockey live. It's really super cool to see the culture that you fellas have built. I'm the new guy, so I have no contribution to that just yet. But it's really, really neat to see. And you guys are loyal. Holy smokes, it's impressive. It's really impressive, and I love it. So please keep coming up and saying hello to everybody. I know these guys love it too. But, definitely keep doing that. But, training camp starts then tomorrow, so 8:45-ish.
Yep.
Right in thereabouts. First group will go for a couple hours, a little bit of a break. Then the next group will go for a couple hours. But it's fun. It's a cool environment. As I was kind of getting to on that 30,000 views, so from group number 1, I think – and not just because he's on the show today, not just because he's a friend of the show, but I want to hone in a little bit in that first group on two people. I want to talk about Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and I want to talk about Calvin De Haan, because they've sort of been, in my opinion, some of the storylines from that group. So let's talk first about Calvin and how we thought he did.
Good size, and I liked him a little bit better today, although you could see that there were some struggles just trying to learn what he's supposed to be doing all the time. And this is such a different system for defensemen than anywhere he's ever played. It's so much more aggressive. It's so much, you get such a longer leash that it's going to be, for me, I think it's always fun to watch the veteran guys come to Colorado and be like, wait, I get to do this stuff now?
I can open it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
after coaches have been trying to coach that creativity and that out of them for so long, just stay at home, be safe, up and out, off the wall, all of that. And you see De Haan is still trying to find that and figure that part of the systems out. And I like watching those struggles, but I also think that a guy that's been in the league for as long as he has, that's already showing an acumen for it, that's really encouraging. Because we did not know that Josh Manson was the Josh Manson that we've seen until he got here.
Read my reports back then.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
When the Flames make those available to us, we will.
All right.
But watching Josh Manson cut it loose was like, whoa, all right.
There's a little something here.
This is a little different, and I'm okay. Let's see what Calvin has. So I'm very encouraged so far, and I feel good about him easily locking down one of those third pairing spots to start now.
And I agree with you. The decision making as he learns the systems isn't there yet. But when you look at some of the drills where there is no decision making, you can see it. Oh, he takes the guy behind the net, takes his lunch money, turns around, puts his stick in the lane, deflects a shot up into the net.
That's experience.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and we'll talk about it after we talk to Calvin. I want to get to Pierre-Edouard Bellemare in just a moment because he talked at length in the locker room. But it's a different way that the Avalanche play defensively, and that's just something that Calvin's going to get used to. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare competing for a spot on that PTO looked really good on day one. In my opinion, fortified it here on day number 2. He is looking at this very much like it is a tryout, and he is coming and trying to bring everything and not taking anything for granted. He knows it's not going to be given to him. He knows he has to earn it. This is what he had to say after morning skate.
I guess I'm gonna move your pants. Day 2.
They're not mine, they're Drew, so I don't
take chargers. Get him out of there.
Is he here? No. Fuck him.
I'll skate next session. Day 2, how you feeling?
I felt good. It was a little bit heavier in the beginning because obviously, late group yesterday and then early group today, like a quick turnaround. But I felt guys look good and practice was fast, so it was fun.
Is there any kind of mindset change, this year for you, PTO, trying to get to that deal, or do you approach it the same way you have every year?
No, I mean, before, like it's never been like I come into a camp thinking like, oh, I have a safe spot. Like I'm a plug type player, so it's like you have to grind to show that you have a value, and if I play at a 98%, then I'm useless. And I think that maybe the PTO is the thing that make me want it more than like in the past. Maybe I've been complacent, a little bit satisfied, not like consciously, more like I feel like I try to go hard, and then now I see the way I'm driven right now. I was like, okay, I was missing that last year, right? So I think that's maybe more. That's the little start on the fire, right? I feel like maybe there's a little spark, a little bit, yeah.
And then the familiarity with this group, and not just the organization, the team, but knowing what the expectations are, and the compete level from guys like McKinnon and all that. How much does that help? Kind of add to that.
It's awesome. I mean, like I said it before, when your top guys are the guys that grind the hardest, you're already set as a culture, like for the whole team. Then for me personally, it's just like seeing those guys, and they're the best in the world, and they're always there. Like I've always been one of the guys that wanted to do more because I've always felt like I started too late, right? I've been behind everybody. But now I'm here and it's more like, okay, well, they're still doing it. I'm still doing it. I'm still having fun doing it. So it's like this familiarity of the guys that I know and the organization and the trainers like makes it so like it's almost like I want it even more, right? Because like I know how good it was, I know how good it is, and I know how good it can be. So let's do it.
How much can you use your experience to maybe not do too much here at training camp? Like to focus and showcase your skill set.
Well, I mean, like, do they expect me to come here and like take max spot? Nope. Like do they expect me to be reliable defensively and like to work hard every minute I have on the ice, every second I have? Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is like just do that. It's not changing who I am as a person. It's just do a little bit more of it, right? I never needed like a ASC or whatever leadership type word on my back for me to go and talk to the young guys and talk to my line and make sure like the practice is loud and everything. This is how I think it's fun. Well, it's fun to play on the ice. If a guy score, I want to cheer him on. If he makes a bad pass, I want to chirp him. That's the way it is, right? So, and I don't think they expect me to change any of that. I think that who they know I am as a person, and I'm just trying to do that, but show them that I still have the drive, right? Because that's, I think, the biggest question is that, all right, this sucker is almost 4 years old. Like, can he still play, right? And I think that's what I want to show them.
Billy, what's the strongest part of your game right now? Obviously, we know how adept you are at the faceoffs, but being smart defensively as well. But what do you feel like at this moment the biggest strength in your game is that you can bring to this team?
I feel like it's been like, especially, I mean, like the value that I have is, it's kind of like you can't see it if we lose every game, right? Because like if I block 2-3 shots and I play good in the kill and my line look good as a line, and we lose 3-0, like nobody's going to care about the defensive role and but in a team that is a good team and that's right to win every night, that block shot might be the difference. That face-off one at the right time when you lose the momentum, when the guy realizes, all right, and like your fourth line with me in the middle, like we talk. We're going to talk every day. We're going to try to make ourselves better every day. And the fact that we're going to know exactly where we are on the ice is going to make us look better, right? And this is what I think has been a strong part of my game, is always taking care of my line and make sure that everybody feels comfortable in the line, to make sure that we look a little bit better than who we are individually as a person, right?
Complete opposite this Avs team the last few seasons. What is your impression of where this team is within their competitive window? What makes them difficult to play against?
Well, I mean, it's a fast team. Like I said before, their top guys are the guys that show the way, but not in a way that like they're cheating the game. They are often, you can show their clip as the best defensive clip. They're not cheating the puck. They are the one that are the best forecheck. They're working hard. They're not forcing the play. And then like I think it's like, like it's competitive in practice. Like because of these guys, like they put the level so high that everybody's got to come every day in a PTO mindset. Like I have to show the organization I want it, right? Because if your top guys come and they just like F around, then it's gonna trigger this domino effect to the next guy, right? But because here, like, I mean, let's be honest, it's a cup. Like it's either you win the cup or you that's nothing else. That's the way the organization is talking about. So it's exciting, it's fun, and that's what makes them so difficult to play against. Because there is not a single second where those guys are gonna take a shift off, right? They are gonna go at you like a tornado constantly.
Seeing McKinnon and Rantanen on your wife's cooking episode, it's an environment we don't normally get to see them in. Can you tell me about the friendships you built within this group?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been too loud of a guy in the locker room, and I've always been like one of the oldest too. So somehow, these guys that work very hard every day, like I'm here before them and I do my stuff. So there is kind of right from the get-go when I got here, there was kind of a respect mutual that came down, like, all right, he's disciplined, he does his job. And then I think that those guys also understand the value of, like we have guys that are there ready to lay their body in front of the puck for the team, right? And so we get closer and closer, and I warned my wife that like when we're going to do that, like a lot of those guys that we have at home are top guys. I don't know if they want to come to our place and like have a home cooked meal there, but actually like Nate and Mikko and Landy were some of the first ones to answer yes right away, and it was an amazing dinner. And it was fun, especially the time like it was after we lost against you guys, and like they come to my house and to our house and we have a nice dinner, and it feels like shit. Like I know like these are buddies, right? Even if the next day we battle hard at it, right? So it's fun.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I need the invite over for dinner at Belly's house. But in order to do that, you got to be healthy. And I guarantee that whatever is being cooked over at the Bednar house is incredibly healthy. And that brings up our Ready, Set, Co. from our wonderful friends at UC Health. And I'm very proud to announce that our very own Eric Lacroix will be participating in that Ready, Set, Co. Initiative. Talk to me real quick about it.
I'm going to go quick on it. I'm going to do it in a healthy way. For every Avalanche point they get
this season,
starting regular season, no preseason, I will beat them by the end of the year. And I started 2 days ago. These guys know where I started at. We'll keep it up, an update every week or so. I will beat them in pounds. It's on Avalanche. I will win. But I do think that they're going to win the division. So I don't think they're going to have a bad season, a 48-point season. But I will do it in a healthy way. UC Health, thank you. Got it going.
I mean, being your best self is Lots of levels.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's mental, but it's also physical, and all of those things culminate together. So for E, feeling better overall means losing a couple of pounds. And so he's in on it, and you can be in on it too if you want to learn more about UC Health and all of the wonderful things that they are bringing to the table. Make sure you join and do it as well. The Ready, Set, Go Challenge is on, and it's on for our very own Eric Lacroix. Click the link in the show notes or go to www.uchealth.org/ready-set-go.
Chat. Put your predictions in the chat. How many pounds is
Yeah.
Eric going to have to
I wanna
lose
know.
this year?
I
How
wanna
many
know.
points are the Avs going to get in the standings? All right, let's see. While you're doing that, make sure you're also getting yourself into a beautiful Toyota car from your Front Range Toyota dealerships. Is a great way to get out to the trails if you're trying to be healthy, maybe go for a hike, something like that. Or if you want to have some fun, they have 17 different all-wheel drive vehicles for any of your off-roading or just daily driving needs, whatever it might be. 16 different hybrids as well, which is the most of anyone out there, so you can be eco-friendly with Toyota too. They're not just the official vehicle of DNVR, they're the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche. So here at training camp, bring in your Toyota. Come hang out with us. We'll snap pictures of your Toyota in the parking lot if we see you. So make sure you bring them in. Of course, get with your Front Range Toyota dealerships, including but not limited to AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota and Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. The official vehicle of DNVR and the Colorado Avalanche.
Always impressive. Always impressive. We've got Calvin De Haan coming up in a few minutes, but we'll do that after the 30 break. So just stick with us on that. Right now, let's switch gears and for the next few minutes talk about group number 2 and what we kind of liked in it. There's a lot of different things here. Let's talk about Shillington specifically, and let's talk about Cal Ritchie and sort of the dynamic that was him today.
Yeah, Shillington, interesting one. Obviously, he's had his own adventure as far as getting here and getting on the ice. So I think there's a level of adjustment there alone just to get back out on the ice for him. But had a couple of nice plays. I only watched about half of that second group as we were running around doing some other work, so I'm sure AJ has more to say than I do. But took a couple of defensive shifts against guys like McKinnon and held his own. So it looked good to me.
Yeah, with Shillington, I mean, it's kind of what it's always been with him. The great feet. It's such quiet feet too. You know, it's not really active. It just looks so smooth and natural for him. And I think that smoothness really stood out today. And you know, he's doing his thing. It's really, this is a great environment for him to stand out. He does not have to do the things that he struggles a little bit with the physical stuff in front of the net, and you know, a little bit of the puck watching tendencies. That stuff isn't going to show up in this environment. And what did show up was he's got great feet, and he looks like he's going to be a really good asset in Colorado's transition game.
Well, talk to me about what you spotted with Ritchie in terms of the bench too.
Yeah, so Cal Ritchie, it was interesting. It was just an interesting moment. I was talking to a friend of the show, Dario, as we were watching this. As they get off the ice, he's on the baby boy line. It's Ritchie centering Oscar Olsen and Jean-Luc Foudy. And when they get off the ice for the other lines to come on and do the drills, because that group has 5 lines, they get off, and Ritchie goes, and Bednar has Ritchie go and sit with Nathan McKinnon and Ross Colton's line. Those are the NHLs. And then the other two baby boys have to go sit with the other guys who are likely AHL bound, the other groups that are not going to be spending very much time in the NHL. Little things. They are already treating him like an NHLer.
Right.
I didn't think he really looked like one today. I thought Jean-Luc Foudy probably outplayed him a little bit, but no, it is noticeable that, look, yes, Jean-Luc Foudy might perform a little bit better in a handful of drills. Which guy do they think is going to help them at the NHL level? Right now, they are doing everything they can to make it clear, we are going to try Cal Ritchie. Somewhere on this roster, we are going to try Cal Ritchie. I think it is getting increasingly interesting where that's going to be. Because is it at center? Your 4 centers look pretty good right now with Belly there. Is it at right wing? Well, your right wings look pretty good. Jason Polwin's looked very good as a 4th-line guy. Nikolai Kovalenko didn't really talk about him.
Yeah.
Nikolai Kovalenko has been awesome alongside Casey Middlestat. Where do you put him? You could put him on the offside, on his offside on the left, and put him where Yuri Inala is, who I have not liked through 2 days. But where he plays is going to be getting to be a louder conversation, because it looks like We want Cal Ritchie in the NHL. We're just trying to find an excuse to put him there.
And Bednar wouldn't come out and say it. You'll hear his presser later, but he said, "Yeah, there's some guys who might get the chance to start in the NHL this year." So
you got to fill the roster, right? I mean, but to get back to Cal, like you can tell going to Vail and being around NHL guys the last few weeks before camp started. One area of the ice, you got McKinnon, Drew, and Makar. Nobody's going near them because that's, again, you'll hear Calvin talking about you got to make your place. Where is your place within the team? And, you don't know where to go on the team plane, on the team bus. I don't want to take that guy's seat. I don't want to, I don't want to mess this guy. Where you are in the lineup before you get on the ice, right? When they fist bump each other, it sounds stupid, but it's an adaptation period. Now, Cal Ritchie had no problem going down there and playing a little bit of passing at the end with the Moose. You know what I mean? Where sometimes as a young guy, you're not going to want to go down there. But he had no problem, because he's been spending a little bit of time with the guys. And that the message came down, like you saw today from Bednar, that let's take care of this kid a little bit. Let's give him a little bit of a heads up, a little warning on how things are. And when it comes down, here's what I'll say about Cal Ritchie. Those are NHL practices, last 2 days. As much as I don't like practices, those are huge for him. He's never been to an NHL practice. Missed camp last year.
Yeah.
It takes a few days to get adapted to. It's an oh wow moment on the pace of what things are done compared to. Nothing wrong with junior hockey. You can't compare the two on pace. So now, you're saying Jean-Luc Foudy looks better. Absolutely. I'm sure, and I hope so. Foudy's been there a few years, right? So it's a great point by you. But you can tell, like, it's new. It takes a little bit of time. Does he have a lot of time? You don't have a lot of time, right? Because we all know Bednar's here to win, and Bednar's here, and the Avalanche are here to win, and you don't have that time. This is not the San Jose Sharks where you're like, Macklin, we'll see how he adapts till Christmas. This is now. The time is now for him, and I think that's why they're trying to push him and give him every little tool that he can to get used to that pace and to get used to it as quick as you can.
Look, his silver spoon is very silver.
Yeah, absolutely, as it should.
As it should be. I mean, listen, he did. We talked earlier about checking boxes. He checked the box at rookie camp. He checked box on day 1, did it again on day number 2, showed a little character, went down, hung out. All those things matter. Before we kind of put a button on that, the other thing I just wanted to ask you, player standpoint, we talked about this yesterday. The drama around, the drama around Oliver Shillington and just like the tough with the immigration and then not having his gear. How do you think he responded to that today?
I thought he was fine. I love Shilly. His nickname's Shilly, and even though it's spelled way differently, let's not be confused. But he can skate. That's his biggest asset. He has a good reach. You got to make sure he keeps the game simple. When he keeps it simple, he's an asset to any team. I think he's shown. He went from a guy that was going to clear waivers and cleared waivers to a guy that was really wanted by a lot of teams until he stepped away. We all know the story for a little bit. Now, as far as adapting and missing the last, we'll hear about it, but not a perfect start for him when we're talking about off ice. Not by his own good, but when you've been away as much as he's been away the last couple seasons, and he is sharp mentally and ready to take on the challenge right now, you actually enjoy anything that's thrown at you. You're like, you know what? All right, I'll take it dead on. And I got no gear. No problem. Whatever it is, I'll do it. And you put a smile on and you get out there. And I think that's what he's been doing.
I mean, it's not easy. Every time you're stepping into something to try to figure out exactly what's what, and then, you spend all this time in a hotel room and you have all this problems and these dramas and all this stuff's coming up. It messes with your head in an already stressful situation. Yeah. So I give him credit for just kind of getting out there today too, and just at least being able to move.
You wondered also, whose gear is this? Because when he first got out there, he kept looking at all of his. He's like looking around, he's fidgeting, and you're like, look, this could be a nervous tick, or he seriously is still missing.
No, he's probably
some of his gear.
Yeah, no, it's not an easy thing. Like I said, I mean, guys are creatures of habit. I mean, I would not ever I could never imagine putting on somebody else's skates.
Well, listen, a CCM glove's a CCM glove. So when he's told what in the summer, hey, what do you wear? CCM glove. But the problem is he's had his gear. And he's had the last few weeks to wear his Avalanche gear and get
broken
ready.
in.
Now he just comes in and it's like, here you go again. You know what I mean? And nowadays, gear is so much easier to break in compared to us Warriors back then. But but with that said, he's new again. You know what I mean? Like, last few weeks, it's out the window of the gear that he
Boots
used.
are pretty stiff.
They are. Well, that's what they get in the room and they get their skates off first. The veteran media guys know to let the guys get their boots off before you start asking them
There's one guy that's
questions.
got shiny new gear in the beer league in Paris tonight. Like, he's excited.
Sacre bleu.
Luc Robitaille.
Luc Robitaille. Chicken cordon bleu. I've got new barrels, huh? Maybe he's a CCM guy. I don't know, actually. But yeah, we'll figure all that out, too. Listen, there are so many cool things about what we do at DNVR, not only here with the Avalanche Pod, but across the whole platform. Obviously, we got the diehards, but we've got the takeovers, we got the hangouts. All of that stuff that we do at DNVR is what makes it cool. And I'll be honest with you, like I've gotten a lot of questions. I realized, whoa, why'd you you're a DNVR now? Like you picked those? And I'm like, yeah, I picked those guys because they're the coolest and because they're the literal best coverage of this hockey team across the board. The best way to understand what's happening with the Avalanche is through the DNVR guys, and now I'm a part of that. So I love that it's so interactive. One of my favorite things about this gig is being able to hang out with the fans and getting to talk, and we've seen that a little bit today. We got something special tomorrow on the show. We made a new friend, Hunter. He's going to come on. But all of that stuff is just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, this time of year is always fun. AJ and I aren't the socialist people in the world, but nonetheless, we love seeing you guys out here. When you come down and say hi, it means the world to us to see you guys, and it's just really appreciated by everyone on the show. And also, not just Avalanche events, which we do have that takeover on 11/15. Come watch a game with us. It's going to be fun. But if you want to say hi to these two dorks, they're going to be at the DNVR bar tonight for our new trivia nights on Fridays.
We are.
So make sure you come down, have some fun, playing some sports trivia.
Right, let's go.
Maybe you'll end up on these two teams, and you'll have to carry them because I don't think they're going to help you much.
That's a 7 tonight?
7.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I get that writing done.
Let's go. Come on, let's go. And if you come and hang out with us, we'll probably have some Breck brews.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, the DNVR bar, they've got 4 different flavors of Breck brew. So whatever flavor you want. We got you covered at the bar. We got you covered with Breck. Make sure you go check out Breck for yourself. You can find them online with their Breck beer locator at breckbrew.com. And like I said, dozens of flavors, something for everyone. Available in all 50 United States, even Hawaii. They've got you covered. I go for the Avalanche Amber. I'm a simple man who likes simple flavors. But if you want something fancy, they've always got a seasonal. I think the Palisade Peach beer is still around right now. If you want to taste Loserville, you can have their new Broncos beer.
Shot.
Jesus, man.
Fired.
All right. It's like that.
I just call them how I see them, all right? But tons of flavors. I'm sure their fall pumpkin beer is coming out too very, very soon. So go get with them. Again, breckbrew.com to find them near you.
All right, listen, friend of the show, friend of mine for a long time. Really excited to get to catch up with Calvin De Haan. He comes in. He's only been here for just a few weeks now, but was kind enough during the middle of training camp today to come and sit down with us and talk exclusively about his experience, his past, what he's learned from a lot of teams, and then just what he wants to bring here and why he chose the Colorado Avalanche as the place to play this season. Without further ado, let's catch up with Calvin De Haan, the newest Avalanche. Back with you on the DNVR Avs pod. Eric Lacroix, Nick Gismondi, friend of the show, friend of mine for a long time, and now a Colorado Avalanche. Calvin De Haan joining us, buddy. Welcome to the Rocky Mountains.
Thanks for having us, boys. Very much appreciated. Yeah.
How's it been so far? First of all, how's the transition been? I know you kind of just got here a couple weeks, kind of getting settled. Are you liking it so far on the small sample size that you've had?
Yeah, it's been good. All the guys have been welcoming. It's always a little awkward coming into a new team and into a new locker room, kind of trying to find your place. But outside of that stuff, the guys have been great. And the area that we're in, my wife and I live is, it's a suburb, but it's great for, our young family and stuff, and no complaints on our end, aside from the dry lips all the time, probably. But
you get used to that.
Yeah.
You get used to that. A lot of Burt's Beeswax.
Yeah, chapstick, all that kind of stuff.
Pardon my elbows.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, don't itch those too hard.
Hey, listen, on behalf of, I'm an alumni here, and obviously the Logos family for me, but welcome. You know what I mean? It's always great to
Appreciate
see
it.
Guys like you coming in, and that was many pounds ago for me. But listen, first and foremost, welcome. And I just want to touch up a little bit on what you've seen the first couple of days on the culture. And I know you were in Tampa last year, and then you look at the winning teams the last 5-6 years in the NHL. So now you're touching on a second team. Not that Carolina and the Islanders and all that stuff weren't, but I'm talking about championship teams. Do you see a little bit of similarities between the core guys and what the culture is here with the Avalanche?
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's been short, but
I mean, it's pretty similar across the league. Like, the past few years I was in Carolina, and now Tampa last season, and here, those teams all have Stanley Cup aspirations. So everyone's, goal number one is to make the playoffs, obviously, and then the next chapter to that is Stanley Cup, and but it's it's a winning culture here. Obviously, this team's had a lot of success the past 5, 6, 7 years, and they've been a competitive team. And you obviously need the stars to align, to hoist Lord Stanley there. But it's I'm glad I get to play on a competitive team and play on a team that has those aspirations. And it's nice that someone still wants to pay me and play for those teams too, which is good. So it's I'm just pleased to be here, and it's an honor to be in an organization with, so much pedigree. And it's funny. I grew up an Avs fan in a way too when I was younger, and nice. Growing up there, it was hard not to, right? Like I grew up in the '90s and early 2000s. Like it was, I grew up in Ottawa, and the Sens were great from those, '99 to 2009, and on the other side, it was, the Avs from 96 when they won their first cup to, until now, pretty much they've been pretty competitive for those years. So,
but I was on that Sens team in 2001. We finished first, and we lost 4 straight in the first round to the Leafs.
Yeah.
But you can tell the audience that you had my jersey and everything. You remember that for sure.
Yeah,
you had my jersey. Yeah.
I'm a hockey geek.
All right, move on.
Oh, yeah, huge Lacroix fan.
But
Huge
he did.
Lacroix
He
fan.
did.
He tried to get number 28 here.
He's like,
I don't know that.
Alfredson, Lassa, me. Just kidding.
Oh, that's all good, brother.
Kidding.
So. I think one of the cool things, and obviously I've made it abundantly clear that you and I have known each other for a while, and it's been fun to be in the same city a couple of different times. But you obviously want to win, and I think it's important for the fans to understand that there's probably a few other places that you could have gone, but I think it's important to talk about what you see out of this group and why this was a high point for you.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was kind of the first team that called on July 1, and I'm glad they did.
Yeah,
it was pretty easy decision. It was funny. I had my mom and dad over because, just because, and I was hoping to sign on July 1, and my mom and dad were over, and we were actually on the boat. My agent called me, and he's like, "Yep, Colorado called." I'm like, okay, like, is that a good fit for this family and all that kind of stuff?
Sure.
And I'm like, give me 5 minutes. Called him back. I'm like, yep, just send the paperwork over, all good. And like I said earlier, it's nice to be a part of a culture that has those aspirations to try and lift Lord Stanley every year. So.
Talk about you as a player. Everybody will obviously see you and sort of know what your acumen is defensively, but what do you really pride yourself on in your game, Cal?
I just try and take care of our own end as best as possible. Try and just play responsible hockey at the end of the day. I've been fortunate enough to play in the league for a long time, and maybe my style of play has helped me achieve that longevity. But I'm just trying to play responsible hockey in the minutes that I'm giving. I'll kill penalties. I'm not afraid to put my body in front of a one-timer and stuff like that. And it's just more old school, more simple. A lot of experience I like to think that I bring, and it's kind of hard to talk about yourself in that way.
Agreed.
But hopefully you guys will say some nice things about me down the line. So, and not to be too hard on
you. You got my vote all the time. You know that, buddy.
That,
I mean, everyone on our pod knows, like AJ, one of our original pod guys. I mean, he is one of our partners and teammate, but he's been after you for years with an S. To be in an Avs uniform.
That.
So just being honest with that, and my question to you is this is not your first camp, not your second camp. Now this is what your.
I was drafted in 2009, so I guess that's 15-ish.
So 15.
Yeah.
I was telling yesterday the
12th
audience.
12th in the NHL.
Yeah,
this
I
year,
was talking about like how I used to get so excited for the first day of camp. You get the jitters, you know what I mean? But what would you say to yourself when it was your first camp 15 years ago to what you're doing right now? Of course, you're all excited and everything, but there's a lot of experience. You just said the word experience. There's a lot of experience 15 years later. What would you say to yourself?
Oh man,
your first camp.
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day, I get it coming in, and you're you're 18, 19 playing defense against Nate McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. It's nerve wracking. I understand that. And, but you're drafted for a reason as a, whether you're the first pick in the draft or the last pick, it doesn't matter. Everyone can shoot, pass, and score at this level. But I think just be yourself and try not to be someone that you're not, even off the ice. Like, don't be shy and ask questions. I think it's good to show initiative and, just the things like that. It's kind of hard to explain in a way. You have to be around it almost to understand. But, I wish I was probably a little bit more outgoing at the start when I was younger. And probably now to this day, same thing. Like, coming into a new team, still got to try and put myself out there in a way too. So hasn't really changed, I guess. But it's been fun. So the practice has been good.
One of the things that I've kind of talked to our audience about in regards to you is obviously the ability on the ice, but it's that leadership that you have, because you do have that bravado to you, and you've been in some rooms with some big people that I'm sure you take pieces from. I mean, that was a great locker room in Chicago. It was a pretty good room in Carolina. Obviously, we know the pedigree in Tampa. So I've said as well that not only do you bring what you bring to the ice to this Avalanche group, but you bring a little bit of that veteran experience, almost leadership, and I know that you'll speak up in a room like this.
Yeah, I'm not a rah-rah kind of guy per se, but
right.
I try and be selective and intelligent when I speak and at the right times, obviously. But I've been so fortunate to have good captains in my career everywhere I've played. When I was with the Isles, I had Tavares was there, and he was a great leader. Then I went to Jonathan Taves, and also a great leader. And a couple of years in Carolina too. I had I think was Willie the captain?
Yeah,
one year?
Willie was captain.
Yeah, he was. So again, like another guy with extensive pedigree and resume in hockey, learning from those guys, and then going to Tampa too, obviously, and having Stammer there was, I look up to these guys too, right? Like, they're some of my favorite hockey players, right? Like growing up and getting to play with them. So, I've been fortunate enough to have really great captains, and, Gabe's been great too. I know he's, obviously been absent a little bit, but I think he's still a pretty big presence around the room. That's kind of what I've gathered anyways. And, he's worn the letter for a long time here. So it's, kudos to him, and, he's obviously earned it. So.
Well, you know what? You're preaching to the choir. I was part of the management team when we named him the youngest captain in the history of the league. So for me, I love the man. You're gonna learn to. I mean, the beautiful thing is he's around, which is nice.
Of course,
you're right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know he's injured, but it's still his job, right? Like, it's still work.
Somebody said that at the press conference. I don't remember. Was it Drew? Maybe Drew was talking about he's not on the ice, but you guys don't see that. But he's around the locker room.
And he's been pretty evident around the locker room.
Oh, it's great to see. I mean, he's one of my favorites. Obviously, got here as a young teenager. You know what I mean? And a special young man he is. I still call him a young man, even though he's married with kids now. But hey, I guess we all move on, right? I saw that you got married and lovely kids. And I know I touched it upon earlier. I said to you, welcome. I meant it. We had Robbie Blake last week on the show, and can't help but going back to his days as an Avalanche, even though he is an LA King. When you think of Blakey, going back to he talks so fondly of his French came out right here. Sorry, of his experience. C'est correct. You shouldn't know.
Petit bit of français.
He's a French guy. We like him already.
Bilingual.
We're good. Anyway, but Blakey talks
I'll
about.
show myself out.
Yeah, please. But he talks about how memorable it was, and that's what I'm going to tell you. I think what you're going to find out here in the community. This is besides hockey. I got here in '96. I'm old. And then married a girl from here. So my wife's from here. It's a little different than you. You already married, got kids. My kids were all born here, and so this is home for us. And I'll tell you one thing. Been around the league forever. I've never met one person that did not like their. Forget about the hockey part. I'm talking about the experience of being part of this community. So I know this means a lot to our viewers.
Frankly, that almost means more.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
I'm saying?
Like, hockey's. I mean, the rink's. However, it's 200 feet long everywhere you go. So it's pass, shoot, score with your buddies. But the stuff off the ice is very important. And frankly, I'm gonna have to get used to a big city again. But because I just walked to the rink in Tampa last year, so so I got to get used to the traffic a little bit again. But aside from that stuff, that's the stress we have to deal with. It's not that bad.
Well, we talk about it a ton on here, and obviously you boys both play in the NHL. I did not, but I've been around long enough, and we know a lot of the same guys. It's such a family, and I try to stress it, and I'm going to preach it all year long, but the bond and the brotherhood of hockey and the family that's there, it's incredible. And for me, it's one of my favorite things. Like, we've known each other a long time, haven't seen you in maybe a year, couple years, but as soon as it is, it's like, I called you right away when I knew you were coming here. I was like, man, all right, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And that's how it is.
But people you meet off the ice and, stuff like that too, it goes a long way. And so it's, I appreciate that stuff too from not just you, but other people that I've met over the years and stuff. So,
other big question for you: how is the golf game right now? Because we'll get a round or so in maybe before the season starts. But how many strokes am I getting, by the way?
Well, you said you're 7.
I'm a 7.
You'll be getting probably 5-ish.
Oh my goodness!
Yikes.
All right, yeah,
4?
yeah. All right.
I haven't
Rock
played
and roll.
I just played in that tourney the other day, and that was the first time I touched clubs in like 3 weeks. So
You'll get more distance here, though.
Oh yeah,
Like-
it's minimum 10 yards.
100%.
Great courses around here too. By the way,
Well,
unbelievable courses.
That course we had the charity tournament at was really nice.
Really nice.
It would be fun to play your own ball there.
Yeah, you're
Instead
right.
of a scramble, just because it's very target golf, which is pros and cons to that. But some of the undulations are pretty fun.
There's a
and
couple
cool.
right there. The boys they'll take you. Castle Pines and
Cherry Creek Country
Sanctuary
Club,
and
Sanctuary is unbelievable. You're gonna have some fun here in the golf. The golf is always. For those of you that don't know, if any hockey player, I would say, what's the percentage? 98% of hockey players probably play golf. Is it higher than that?
I think a lot of them play, but some aren't that good.
Right. You were good when we played.
Good.
Yeah, you're fine. It's all
Belly got
good.
in the way. That's got in the way. Sorry, go ahead.
We'll go get you out of here. You've been so great, but what are your expectations for the season as a team? Obviously, it's Stanley Cup or bust. I know that is the culture and the mentality here. What are you looking for out of Calvin De Haan this year?
Well, I'm hoping to play well enough to earn another contract, whether it's here or somewhere else. But I just, like I said, haven't really talked to management or the staff about my specific role per se. But I want to play every game. I've been healthy the past X amount of years too. So. If anyone is looking at my hockey DB, I was just getting scratched, so I wasn't injured or anything. But so I've been healthy the past X amount of years, and I'm just hoping to bring some. Well, frankly, I'm the oldest guy on the blue line too by a few months, which is kind of crazy at 33. So hopefully to bring some experience to the back end. Even though we have a perennial Norris Trophy winner. Taser's obviously a great defenseman, great partner from Cale. But there's maybe some things they can learn from me over the years.
100%.
And same. It's a reciprocal thing too. But I'm just hoping to be a staple in the lineup and just trying to do my best to help the team win, whether that's killing penalties or whatever. Just trying to do the right thing out there. So
team guy.
I think you're in good hands. I think the Avs are in good hands. I'm a big Nolan Pratt fan. I think he's done a great job with the decor and of course Jared and all that stuff. But nothing but success, nothing but luck this year. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Much
Cal,
appreciated.
Thanks a ton for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem.
Calvin De Haan, friend of mine, friend of the show. Looking forward to watching him in an Avs jersey all year. We got more of the DNVR podcast when we come back after this. Super excited that Calvin is part of the Avalanche this year. We'll have a ton of stuff with him, and he'll be on the pod quite a bit, so make sure you are always tuning in. All right, Coach Bednar also had some really nice things to say about him. We've got so much stuff. We're running out of time. I'm stressing out here, but let's go right away to Coach. This is what he had to say after day 2 of training camp.
You're 2 days in. How good does it feel to just be back and be going?
Yeah, it feels great. I think, once you kind of get back into the office and get back to work, which happens a couple of weeks before rookie camp, you want to start having some fun and get on the ice, and I think players are the same way. They get skating in the off season, they've been training the whole time, and eventually you just want to get competing again. And so coaches and players alike, I think that's why, start of training camp is always fun and exciting.
What do you look for in a week like this out of some of your more veteran guys? Some of the guys that are going to be on the roster. What are you looking for?
I'm watching those guys and get their game dialed in and fine-tuned so they're ready to go come the start of regular season. Some guys look great, some guys not so great. So, training camp's a long time, I get it, but I'm also looking for the leadership. We got a lot of new guys, a lot of young guys, and I want them to, not only set the example off the ice and with their leadership and their words, but also by leading by example out on the ice.
We've
talked to Bednar, and he kind of said the same thing. Like, if the top guys are going hard, it inspires everybody, including him on a PTO, to go hard. If they kind of are taking it easy, it kind of trickles down through the line.
Yeah, there's no question. I think you the more guys you have that are sort of setting the tone and the way you want to come to work every day in practice, and the attention to detail you have, the competitiveness, physicality, being vocal on the ice and bringing the energy, the more guys you have doing that, the better off your practice is going to be. And that's the type of practices you want, setting the tone early and being able to maintain it. It's a long season. There's lots of practices and optional skates, but you want to make sure the guys are getting their rest, but then you want them to push when they're on the ice so you're getting quality reps.
When you look back at the Star Series over the summer, was there things you picked out that you would like to do differently, or this is what we need to do to generate more offense, or whatever it was?
Yeah, I think it's you look at everything, and I think it's significantly harder to score come playoff time, right? So I liked our numbers offensively, again in the playoffs, like the chances that we created. Could we have done more? Yes. But you also got to look at it from the defensive side of it. If that's how tight everything gets in playoffs, then we got to make sure that our habits are tight and that we're giving up less than we were in regular season, which we did, but it's still a fine margin for error when it comes to it. I think I saw a stat, 89% of the games in the playoffs last year were 1-goal games or 2 with an empty net. So you can expect to play a tight game every time you hit the ice in the playoffs, and so details matter, and the more you can kind of have the foundation of your habits and work ethic and detail in place and hone that over the course of the regular season, the better off you're going to be for success.
You added some bigger guys at the deadline. It was kind of like a thing you guys talked about it being a need.
Yeah.
The guys you added in the offseason maybe aren't as big. Do you look at it like as a long-term thing for the season, as like size is maybe still a thing that you'll be cognizant of or looking for?
No, I don't know. Size isn't everything. I think it kind of depends on how guys play. But we've got some smaller guys on our team that play really hard and play bigger than their size. And, we want everyone to sort of play that way with a certain amount of ability to play in traffic and play through tough situations, which is what you're going to see come playoff time. You have Lecky, who's a guy that plays bigger than his size. You have Val and Landy out to start the year, so the forward group starts to shrink down a little bit to start, but we're counting on getting those guys back, and then it changes the whole complexion of our team.
A couple of us were talking the other day about, there was a lot of conversation around not having Val, not having Gabe. How much was it maybe underrated, maybe not in your guys' room, but by everyone else, that not having Logan, was a big factor, and what are you looking forward to him being back?
Well, it's a lot. He thrives in his role. The goal is to have 20 guys on the ice that thrive in the role that they're given, regardless of if it's a smaller role with less minutes or a bigger role with a lot of minutes. You're trying to get 20 guys that are elite in their role to win, and it takes that many guys and sometimes more come playoff time with injuries and absences and whatnot. So, every guy that has honed his craft to be a really good player within their role, which I believe OC is, it hurts. So it hurts a little bit, and you're trying to get other guys to step up and play that position. We added players at the deadline, likely because guys like OC were out. But still, we probably have the ability to add them even if he's here, and which would help us even more.
Charlie?
Obviously, it's a big hole in the room with Intercaviano no longer being in there as with that leadership role. Do you see maybe Logan O'Connor or one of the other guys on the team kind of stepping into that leadership role? Obviously.
Yeah, I think all those guys have kind of developed as leaders over the last few years and have been more comfortable. But he's certainly a guy that can. Logan has been a good leader for us, and he has a say, especially on the penalty kill and in a lot of different situations. He's a really trusted player. Guys like Calvin De Haan come in with a lot of experience, really good team guy, really good person. I think the leadership in our room is strong. Especially if you add a guy like Landy back in, it's a whole different dynamic.
Got Inala and Kovalenko with Middlestead right now, kind of a big look for those two guys.
Yeah.
One, how they handled it through 2 days, and two, because they're a little bit older. They've been playing pro overseas.
Yeah.
Is there different expectations for them?
Yeah, there's high expectations. There's two guys that can make our team right out of the training camp. So we have high expectations for those guys for sure. And I think they've handled it well. Like, I thought Kovalenko was outstanding on the ice today. So that that's what you're looking for, guys to elevate their game, step up in the situations that they're put in. He looks like he handled it great today, and hopefully that can continue.
On a coaching
Go ahead, then go to Nick.
On a coaching level, is it exciting knowing that Val and Lecky will be back, Gabe is expected back, now that you kind of get to build a unique roster, try some things out early on?
I'd rather start with him in the lineup. But I mean, that's the situation we're in. So, and I mentioned this, I think in the opening press conference, there's guys that I would like to see play for us early in the year with a little less pressure and a little less, just so they can go out and play their own game and play it to their strengths and see how they can contribute to our team. Guys like Foodie, Olesen, some of the new guys we just mentioned, and Olive, Kovalenko. It's tough when you're getting called up and you're put in a limited role right away. Like, we're gonna see some guys play up in our lineup immediately, starting opening night if they can handle it. If not, we'll have to juggle things around and elevate some of the guys that we already have here.
Nick?
Coach, any early surprises? Maybe a head turner or just from camping these first couple days?
No, I'm impressed with a lot of guys that have come in and what they've done through 2 days. Like, the first practice group again today was outstanding, and I'm just watching lines communicate and work hard together and have success. I thought the white line in that group today, which would have been Ivan, Tynan, Phillips, and Prishkov. I thought those guys were great again today. That's back-to-back days where they look impressive on the ice. They look like a veteran group. There is some experience there, but they play with good speed and quickness. And that, like, I could go through the whole roster, and I'm pretty happy with the way things have turned out through the first couple of days. I think there's a couple guys that still got to get going, but for the most part, we've been pretty happy with what we're seeing.
Last to you guys. Did you learn anything about Georgiev going to playoffs, or did your opinion of him change based on what happened to him over the course of the playoffs?
Well, I'm proud of him for the way he handled the playoffs. I mean, you go into Game 1 in Winnipeg and it goes the way it did. To be able to respond in Game 2 and then beyond that, like through the first round and into the second round, I thought he played great. So was I surprised? No. Was I really happy? Yes. Because things can turn the other way quickly, but it takes a lot of mental toughness to be able to grind through that. And even if it was an up and down year, to be able to respond and play the way he did in the playoffs, I think is the most important thing.
You've gotten used to conditioning at the end of practices at training camp. Are you saving those for the weekend?
Well, that was some today. Conditioning isn't just necessarily skating up and down the ice. We're trying to set our practices up with 5-on-5 drills that aren't just flow and go, and that there's a purpose to every drill we do, and the pace has been good. And when you're not used to guys leaning on you all summer long, and sometimes like those 5-on-5 drills where you got to work and track and check and be checked the whole time is as good a conditioning as you're going to get. I'd rather work it into our practices and just flat out skate, and they're doing a lot of work in the gym right now too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Bedsy always extremely well-spoken in these pressers. Like I said earlier, do not envy the job of him trying to watch all of these lines and get a good feel for who he's going to have to play in these preseason games. But hey, that's the job when you're a head coach in the NHL. We do have one super chat here from one of our favorites, Melanie, $5, saying, thanks for all you do. I've been catching the replays. I always enjoy the content. Have a great weekend. You too, Melanie.
How do you do it?
Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
The kids do like the middle finger down.
With the fingers,
like, I don't know how they do it.
I'm going this way. This seems safe.
Yeah, this is how I do it also.
How do you do it, AJ?
Like, see, Tiffany's got it because you guys are all like
children.
I can't. Well, we're going to work on that. We'll have a tutorial posted online later. Hey, tons of content, obviously, for you. Just a couple quick things before we say goodbye. Tomorrow, we'll have Eric Brandstrom on the show. Real quick, anything wrap up from you, AJ, today?
We haven't really talked about Nikolai Kovalenko, but he was excellent today. He was excellent today. I think Bedsy just talked about it, but yeah.
yeah, the big thing for me is that skill flash, the standout of like, oh, there are some NHL talents in there. It's not just all the hard work, which you guys too, but the skill.
Yeah.
Looking forward to tomorrow. Probably, like I said, probably a different format. Looking forward to it. I think it's more of my style tomorrow.
I love all the love in the chat for our boy Calvin, by the way.
Yeah, shout out Calvin.
Listen, Eric Brandstrom tomorrow. Of course, we've got camp for you. We'll have all the coverage. Make sure you're following along on all of our social medias, obviously, especially Twitter. The fella's doing a great job of keeping you abreast as to everything that is happening as it happens in real time out there. And then, of course, make sure you're catching the pod tomorrow because we'll have another great show for you. We'll have all of the locker room content. Of course, we'll have Bedsy's interviews. And, again, Eric Brandstrom joins us on as a guest. And we met a new special friend that I'm excited for you all to meet tomorrow as well. I have a motto, and I know that we have a saying here, be a good person. I have something in my world that you try to do something every day to make somebody's life better, and it's always fun when you can do that and also meet a cool person. So that's going to do it for us for now. Make sure you are following along. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're liking, and make sure you're a diehard because we are going to have some sick content for you. That's going to do it for us today from the Family Sports Center in Centennial. Day 2 of training camp in the books. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.